What's up, everybody? How's it going? Austin Practal Bay Performance, coming at you live. Happy Tuesday, everybody. So ebook dropped today. Getting those sent out, in the process of getting those sent out. There were a lot of people who wanted a copy of it. If you want a copy of it, feel free to send me a message or comment on this video. I'll try to make sure to get you one sent your way, but it might have to be branched out just because I can only send so many in a day without getting flagged. So just stay tuned for that. If you don't get yours today, sorry, it might have to be tomorrow, but there's limits in terms of how many PDFs and links you can send on Facebook and Instagram. So just want to preface with that. But today, while you people are tuning in, let me know how your day's going. Throw some fire emojis in the comments. If you are tuning in right now live, if you're watching this later time, hashtag replay. But today, we are going to be talking about the concept of hydration and how much freaking water you should drink in a day. Because a lot of times, a lot of people ask me this question, especially whenever they first start working with me. They're like, how much water should I be drinking a day? So I was like, well, I'll just cover that right here and now. Because that's something that a lot of people don't really have a specific answer to. While you're watching this though, if you can, go ahead and give this video a like. Leave a comment, helps with the algorithm, helps people see this. Really appreciate it, because a lot of people don't know how much water they should be drinking, because it's a pretty interesting kind of topic that doesn't have a specific answer. So let's freaking do this. So basically, everybody in general kind of like is like, how much water should I drink, right? How much water? Because a lot of times people are like, oh, you got to drink a gallon a day of water, and then you're gonna pee like 80,000 times in a day, and some people don't want to do that, and that's understandable, especially whenever I'm on top of my hydration. You pee a lot more, and that's just kind of part of it. But do you have to drink a gallon of water? Do you have to drink a gallon of water? No, not necessarily, and I'm going to tell you guys why. But before I tell you how much water you should likely be drinking in a day, let's talk about some of the benefits of staying hydrated. Staying hydrated, it's one of the best ways that actually helps with ridding your body of toxins and waste. You need to stay hydrated. It's important for those processes to work optimally, like with kidney function and things like that, actually works. Drink water. You have organs. You don't need cleanses. I'm going to say it right now. You don't need cleanses, like if you want to rid your body of toxins. That's what your organs are for. That's what water is for. And that's what sweating is for. And that's what, all these other things are for. So, it helps with that. It also is important for optimal brain function. Optimal brain function. If you are dehydrated, sometimes you'll notice that you'll have worse brain fog than usual. That's something that's definitely the case for me. Especially when I wake up dehydrated. Like if I chug a glass of water within, 10, 15 minutes, I feel a hell of a lot better. And so, somebody who, if you have chronic brain fog, it might be something else, but try drinking some water. Like ask yourself, when was the last time I drank some freaking water? Because a lot of times people don't recognize how much you, likely should. And so, making sure that, it can help with optimal brain function. And oftentimes, kind of going back to the whole headspace area, if you have headaches regularly, again, how much water are you drinking? A lot of times when people have headaches, it's probably because they're chronically dehydrated because they don't drink enough freaking water. And so, so there's that. Also, your physical performance. If you work out regularly, if you go to the gym, if you do blah, 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 if you run, whatever it may be, you are affecting your performance if you're not drinking enough water. If you're not drinking enough water, there's been several studies that have shown, there's a varying degree of number of percentage of how, less effective you are in terms of like your output or your endurance and things like that when you're dehydrated, but it does affect your performance in sport, in strength training, in working out. Not being properly hydrated can affect that. And then also, it just helps with, preventing like kidney stones, promoting like regular bowel movements, and it's good for weight loss. This is another thing. Staying hydrated and drinking enough water is good for weight loss. Why? Well, if you drink water with your meals or between your meals or before a meal or after a meal, you're going to be filling your stomach up with volume, which is going to help aid in like sending full signals like earlier, sooner rather than later, so you're less likely to overeat. And so think of it that way too. But how much water? So now that you all those are just, some of the benefits of staying hydrated properly. Let's talk about how much water you actually need. Something that a lot of people don't take into consideration when it comes to their water intake is they think, okay, well, only thing that counts towards my hydration is water, right? Only thing that counts towards my hydration is water. That's not true. You can count other sources towards your water. Things like tea counts. Oddly enough, and this is something that not a lot of people think about, but coffee. If you drink coffee, that counts towards your water. There's been a ton of studies on this shit in terms of, because often a lot of you guys have probably heard like coffee dehydrates you. Not really. It doesn't really do that. And the reason why some people think that is because the caffeine in it is a potential diuretic, but it's an extremely, extremely low level diuretic to where it probably doesn't even really impact that at all. So coffee, if you drink coffee, drink a cup of coffee a day, that's basically like drinking a cup of water, right? So that's something to think about adding towards your, your daily water intake. Things like soft drinks, there's water in those. Other like seltzer waters and things like that. Obviously, those can count too. So think about these things going forward. But in general, like a general rule of thumb, you can drink based on, you want to think about it in this way, based on your height and your weight, and based on your, size in general. It doesn't make sense that somebody who is like 4'8" and weighs 80 or 90 pounds should be drinking a whole ass gallon of water when somebody who is, on the opposite end of that spectrum, who is drinking, that set amount, like it doesn't make sense, right? Like you don't need the same amount. It's kind of like, I would think of it in terms of like proportionally sized to you. I see a lot of really great comments here. Sorry, I'm kind of rolling with it on the tangent right now, but let's see. On Instagram, the Swoltographer says, I do about 1 to 1.5 ounces per body weight, but no less than a gallon a day. Laura Williams, I see you said that a couple times, body weight to ounces. Watermelon. Yeah, and so in some of your foods too, right? Like veggies. A lot of vegetables contain a shit ton of water. They're mostly water. Watermelon is like, it's called freaking watermelon, guys, right? It's got a lot of water in it. Yeah, and so I never knew you could use tea towards your water intake, even if it's sweet tea. Yeah, I mean, you can. Yeah, it's still liquid. It's still a liquid. And as far as I know, like, I'm pretty sure sugar doesn't have any dehydrating effects on somebody. I mean, it's a carbohydrate, but at the end of the day, you can count that liquid towards your total water intake. So, because at the end of the day, it's still tea. It just has a bunch of sugar in it. So, so there's that. And then, so think about it proportion to your size. A general rule of thumb, again, anywhere from half a gallon to a gallon of water a day is perfectly fine. If you want, there's another like rule of thumb. It's like 2 liters or the 8x8 rule or 8x8 rule. Yeah, 8 glasses of 8 ounces of water 8 times a day. You can follow that if you want. But drink when you're thirsty, right? If you've gone throughout the day and you have a headache or you feel weird or your mouth's dry or whatever, obviously you're probably dehydrated. Set timers on your phone if that might help to be like, hey, like, are you thirsty right now or whatever? Like, I'm somebody who gets really like crazy, like tunnel vision whenever I'm working on something and I get excited about something. Sometimes I'll forget to drink my water and I'm like, oh shit. And then I chug a bunch of water and I feel a hell of a lot better. I'm like, oh, that's where that headache came from, right? So think about it this way. So like, you don't have to hit a gallon a day. You can. There's nothing wrong with it. You're going to piss out and excrete excess water. You just might have to pee a lot. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Most people are not going to have an issue with overhydration. It's pretty damn hard to do it. But there is the potential risk there. So don't drink like, 3 or 4 gallons of water and kill yourself. But, make sure that you're, drinking an adequate amount per day. Drink when you're thirsty though. But if you're somebody who has like a very low, like thirst drive, basically, or doesn't have a whole lot of thirst signals going on, it might be wise to set some alarms for yourself. Because I know some people, I went to college with some people who in particular, like she wouldn't, there's one person in particular, and I won't say her name, but she would like go like weeks. She would just drink like, she would just have like soda here and there. She would just have other forms, which again can obviously count towards it, because otherwise you'd be dead if you didn't drink any liquid. But, you know, did not drink water, did not drink water in and of itself. So this is one of those things where, you know, if you're somebody who's like that and you have like chronic headaches, or you feel kind of like you have brain fog, or you feel like you're like, you know, kind of running a little slow that day, drink some water, set some alarms for yourself, but aim for around half a gallon to a gallon a day, and you'll be good. Drink when you're thirsty. Don't force yourself to drink a shit ton of water if you're not feeling it. But there are all those added benefits that I mentioned prior to where we're here right now, that, you know, would be good for you to take advantage of, okay? But other than that, that's all I really have for you guys today. If you got value from this, drop a water emoji in the chat. Give this video a like. Helps with the algorithm, like I said earlier, helps people see this. Share it with somebody if you know. Tag somebody in the chat who you think should be drinking more water, so that way they're more likely to, you know, do it, so that way they know why it's important. But at the end of the day, guys, just do your best to stay hydrated, especially with these warmer months coming up, and being outside more. It's going to be more and more important to, you know, prevent you from getting overheated, and all that good stuff. So other than that, that's my live for today. I appreciate everybody who tuned in. If you're watching this at a later time, hashtag replay. Let me know you saw it. Let me know your number one takeaway in the comments down below, and I will talk to you guys later. Have an amazing freaking Tuesday.